Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Anyway, this is 50 questions with an Eton Orwell scholar. Let's go.
Yep, let's move over to a more scenic place.
Hi, so can you tell us where we are?
We are what one would call the Brockers, fields which are between Eton College and Windsor Castle and the River Thames.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
My name is Mahmudur and I'm in year 13. I was born and brought up in East London and now live in Dagenham. I used to go to a grammar school in North London called Queen Elizabeth's Boys, and now for sixth form I moved to Eton College on a fully funded scholarship.
So tell us about Eton College.
Eton College is what one would call a public school, an all-boys boarding school. It has very notable alumni from Boris Johnson, David Cameron, the first Prime Minister of the UK, Sir Robert Walpole, alongside Prince Harry, Prince William, and hopefully Prince George.
So what's student life like at Eton?
Life at Eton is it's something that many wouldn't expect. You're in a very busy environment all the time. You're always in a school environment, right? So whilst lessons may be only up until 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you will have societies and meetings up until 10. So you're always busy, you're constantly doing something. But the end result is a very satisfactory thing.
So you mentioned that you have an Orwell scholarship at Eton. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
The Orwell Scholarship is a scholarship granted to boys who come from a disadvantaged background whilst being incredibly aspirational and academically bright.
So how long have you been at Eton?
I think I joined in September 2021, so this is my second year at Eton College.
Do you have any application tips for those wanting to apply to Eton?
I think the biggest bit of advice I can give to you is be yourself and don't be afraid to be yourself. Eton is looking for boys who aren't trying to be molded into the stereotypical all grade 9s type of thing. They want people with personality, with aspirations outside of just academics.
What do you think a true Eton boy's qualities are?
All-rounded, I think Eton boys are very, very open-minded and aspirational. When I say open-minded, I mean they're open-minded to finding answers about pretty much anything, exploring different worlds, different countries, different subjects, different people, and that open-mindedness will take you very far in life.
And what is your favourite aspect of studying at Eton?
My favourite bit about studying at Eton has to be the fact that teachers and students are on a way more level playing field. Lessons aren't like lectures where the teacher's teaching you and talking to you throughout the entire time, and you just have to sit down and listen. Lessons are way more involved with the students, and students can chip in time to time, have discussions with the teachers. It's more like a discussion actually than a lesson, but getting everyone involved and having a conversation about what you're learning results in very efficient learning.
And what is the workload like at Eton?
The workload, I mean, the base level of workload is quite a lot, but from there you can choose how much you take. For example, you're not forced to do sports, you're not forced to do plays, but you very much are encouraged to do so. So when you start adding in extracurricular activities, supercurricular activities, whilst maintaining a social life in school, the workload can get pretty extreme at times.
Okay, a quick pop quiz. Can you name at least 3 prime ministers that attended Eton?
Easy. The first Prime Minister of the UK, Sir Robert Walpole. There was a house actually called Walpole House, after which he's named. David Cameron, Boris Johnson.
So you said you applied for Eton at the beginning of year 11. So why did you apply for Eton? Why specifically Eton?
I will not lie, I did not have any plans on coming to Eton. I wouldn't have minded staying at my old school. My secondary school is the top state school in the UK. Very good grammar school, excellent grades. I applied to Eton because of the interview process and the application. My family thought we had no chance of getting in. Eton was like this very far away, prestigious place, and we did it more for the experience. My dad found out about the application literally a few weeks before the deadline on the news, and he was like to me, just do it, like, why not? And I was like, yeah, why not? I have nothing more to do. Like, it's the beginning of year 11, I'm not even revising yet. So I applied, and he was like to me, the fact that you have a bunch of interviews to get in, the fact that you have to do more exams is very good preparation for, let's say, uni and stuff, because the experience of having mock interviews, we didn't get that much at this age, but it's a really helpful skill. So I applied because I like the experience of, trying to get in.
And the final question that we're going to do in this area is, what's one thing you love about Eton that not many people know?
I think one of my favourite things about Eton is that Etonians, even though we're teenagers and we can be stubborn at times like everyone else, we uphold our traditions very strongly, and we're very proud of them.
Okay, so we've switched locations again because the planes. We're quite close to Heathrow Airport. So, what is the next question? Tell us about the history of Eton.
Okay, so Eton was founded in 1440 by Henry VI. It was initially founded for academically bright individuals, regardless of background, and that still holds today. Eton has a very diverse population.
One stereotype that goes all over TikTok is that students have MacBooks, all Apple products. Can you debunk this?
Well, clearly I don't have a MacBook, I have a Dell laptop, and other than that, no. Everyone has a wide variety of laptops. I have no clue why that even is a stereotype, from gaming laptops to Chromebooks. The one Apple product that we are all given though is an iPad. I feel like that's quite useful because you don't have to take your books every old folders. You can just have everything on your iPad.
Okay, and Eton is considered a private school. So, are there any advantages of attending a private school?
Yeah, for sure. One of the biggest advantages I'd say is you have more direct communication with your teachers. I think that point stands even stronger for a boarding school because teachers are quite literally around the corner. My housemaster is a history teacher, stuff like that. Meaning whenever I need help, whenever I need advice, I can ask a teacher and they'll be very willing to reply because the student to teacher ratio is much lower. Like we have classes of 10, 12.
And you mentioned that Eton is a boarding school. Does everybody have to board?
Everybody does have to board at Eton. I think there are only 2 schools in the entirety of the UK which are all boys, all boarding.
And what is boarding like?
I think boarding at Eton it's an incredible experience. You learn a lot because it's quite rare to have people having to deal and tolerate with 10 other people of your own age right next to each other. You form extremely strong friendships and you can go to your friends whenever you like for both academic and emotional advice.
And what's your favourite thing about boarding?
Literally that. Before my friends were in West London or North West London and I'd be in East London and the only way I could communicate with them is through phone. And the only time I see them was in school. Here, like, one of my closest friends is 2 doors away from me, everyone else is downstairs. I'm much closer to everyone.
And do you miss being away from family?
There are times where I wish I had my family around, but on the other hand, there isn't like an opportunity for you to miss your family because you're literally always doing something. Today I have 4 hours of play rehearsal straight after this.
So would you encourage a student to board?
In all honesty, I don't think boarding is for everyone. You have to be a very specific type of person to be able to cope with a boarding environment and an academically intensive environment. But if you like pressure and if you're very aspirational, I think boarding is an option for you.
What is the strict rule that you have to follow at Eton?
I might have mentioned before, but Eton is quite free. But as for rules, I think our strictest rules, they all adhere to tradition the most. And for us, it has to be maintaining uniform. One of Eton's identities has to be its uniform. And we are encouraged to keep it pristine at all times. Polish your shoes, do your bow ties correctly, tuck your shirt in, wear your waistcoats. Everything has to be clean and tidy.
So let's talk about extracurricular activities now. So what are they like at Eton?
Oh, you have a massive variety. Arabic classes, polo, so horse riding, golf, all types of sports, fencing, rugby. I can list them forever, but if you want to do anything, Eton is probably the place for you to pursue.
Great. And what has Eton life taught you? Is there a main takeaway?
Yep, I think Eton has taught me that there is much more in life to discover. Even in East London, I would say that I was in a kind of bubble. I think after coming to Eton, I've experienced and discovered way more perspectives, way more life stories, a whole different type of living, and it's kind of opened the doors in terms of opportunities and stuff for me.
So you mentioned that you joined Eton in sixth form. How did you do in your GCSEs?
I'm not going to answer that directly, but what I will say is that the average grade, the statistics from my old school are 85% all grade 8s and 9s, and I did marginally above that.
Now, one big question. What is one tip you'd give to year 11s? Let's say wanting to apply to Eton.
Wanting to apply to Eton, First of all, I think you're on a great path. The Eton doesn't really advertise the Orwell scholarship, so if you found out about it, and if you're willing to apply, that means you have done some research. So I'd say keep that up. Continue being aspirational. Continue finding new opportunities, and apply to every single one. It doesn't matter if you fail. Generally, it doesn't matter.
So, can you tell me a bit about your academic profile? Was it always high? Did you have any lows? Have you always been a grade 9 student?
Academic profile. Okay, if I were to draw a graph, it would be, normal distribution. It was like, and again, because I was labelled as a gifted kid, a gifted individual in primary school, but I did get into trouble quite a lot. I joined secondary school, Q Boys, very academically intensive. I wasn't at the top of the class anymore, unfortunately. That kind of got to my head, and I started escaping through various means. I got into a lot of trouble. I messed about a lot in secondary. I kind of clutched up in the past 2-3 weeks though. Did decently well in my GCSEs, but I did get into quite a lot of trouble. I moved down about 5 sets in maths in a year, because I wasn't really paying attention to academics and stuff. I think Revishaan, you're reminding everyone else that academics is important, so props to you. But after that, Eton has definitely shifted my focus a bit more towards not only academics, but exploring the outer world. So you might not know, but I do TikTok as well, quick plug, and trying out new things, TikTok, starting businesses, networking with other people, stuff like that.
Great, so let's just talk about your failures. Have you ever failed at anything, and what is something that you failed at?
I've failed a lot in life, and I think failures is what builds someone up as a person. But as for one of my most devastating failures for me, basically towards the end of COVID, I spent about 2 or 3 months, and Ishan, you might not know this, but I spent about 2 or 3 months creating just grade 9 maths questions, and I created about 30 papers of just grade 9 questions. But I was kind of late, and it kind of leaked over to me joining Eton. So as soon as I joined Eton, I completely forgot about that. I focused more on settling into Eton and immersing myself into the Eton environment. And I only reminded myself a few weeks ago that oh wait, I have about 30 grade 9 papers which I haven't given to anyone. I haven't even written up the answers. But that is a massive chunk of time wasted, because that project really did have a lot of potential. Because it kind of coincided with you, GCSE potential, and Ken doing your TikTok thing. I could have easily jumped on that, but I was a bit slow.
And do you think it's okay to fail?
I think you should fail. There isn't anyone in life who hasn't failed and made it to the top. How are you meant to learn from mistakes if you don't fail? You have to fail. That is the only way you learn, and I think you need to be a very open-minded individual in that sense. I don't think you should let failures define you. I don't think you should let failures bring you down. It sounds cliche and stuff, but yeah, you will get upset if you fail. But again, you need to build yourself back up. You need to learn from mistakes, and you need to continue on.
Great, and let's now talk about success. Can you share your best success with us?
I think success for me shouldn't be defined as one great point in my life, because I don't think that applies to me. I think success for me would be the fact that I have been quite consistent with what I'm doing, and I've always tried to reach out and do different things and try out stuff, and if they go well, they go well. If they don't, oh well, I'll just try something else. And I've consistently done that in the past. I did kickboxing, I did gymnastics, I did rugby, and maybe those weren't my thing, but now I'm consistently doing gymnastics and gym. I wouldn't have known that those are my things if I didn't fail at the stuff before. I jumped onto TikTok, 1 or 2 months, 3,500 followers, which is fine. Whilst maintaining an academic life, having friends, social life, and I do go to parties and stuff, surprisingly. So I think my success would be managing everything over a long period of time.
Okay, so we're nearly coming to the end of our interview. Now we're going to talk a bit about your life after Eton. So what universities are you applying for?
I hate this conversation because I myself don't know. I'm applying for physics though, because physics is one of my favourite subjects, and I'm applying for physics at Oxford, UCL maybe, Imperial maybe, Bath maybe, Edinburgh maybe. I haven't chosen the rest, but I'm applying for physics.
Great. And what do you see yourself doing in the future?
I will not lie, I don't think I see myself sticking to the academic lifestyle or sticking to like a career. I think I'm going to be the type of person who's very sporadic and tries out many different things. I'm like, who knows, I might go into politics, I might go into media, I might go into TV. I have zero clue. It all depends on how I feel in the future.
We have the next Prime Minister here. So, what's your favourite A-level?
It's between further maths or physics.
Oh, disgusting. Absolutely horrible. And the last question, what is one motivational quote, and I want you to make it up on the spot, you want to leave with my subscribers?
The more answers you discover, the more answers there are for you to discover.
Great, and thank you so much for joining us for the 50
Thank you, Ishan, for travelling all the way here.